So as it's September, I'm here in the greenhouse, and a big focus at the moment for me is transitioning the garden over to winter. This is the kind of time of year that I need to do that. So yeah, obviously summer's great, it's like boom time for crops, but if we're going to be self-sufficient, I need to perfect the art of keeping fresh and interesting food coming all year round. So the greenhouses are a really important tool for doing that. So what I've done is I've already cleared out, you can see the pots behind me, this is what I grow in the greenhouse. I've cleared all them out, so I've taken out all the dwarf tomatoes and aubergines that were growing in here. There's still a few peppers and chilies on either side of me because they're still going at the moment, so I haven't taken them out. And into the pots now, I'm going to sow some winter crops. So they should be fine outside, a lot of these things, but just with the little bit of extra protection that the greenhouse will give them, I'm hoping that we might get a kind of bigger, more reliable and possibly earlier crop. So I'll keep you posted on how that goes, but that's what I'm sowing today. So first I'm going to top dress the pots just to give them a refresh with peat-free compost. And then I'm going to sow the seed directly into them. So I'm mainly sowing winter greens today and some carrots. You can grow carrots in pots as long as they're not super long exhibition type carrots. And a few winter roots like winter radishes and stuff. So let's get cracking. Job number one is to top dress the pots. So I treat my containers in the same way I do my garden beds. So I use a no-dig approach because it works and it's easy and it's a great way of just gardening in touch with nature. And the same approach works really well for containers. It does in my experience anyway. So these pots have had one season of growth in, so they've done all spring and summer with a planting. So they're a little bit tired. There's not that much nutrients in there. Now the system I use, these are AutoPots. That means that I don't have to worry about remembering to feed and water something. I have a whole homestead here to maintain. So it's really important that I have some ways that help me keep up with everything, because otherwise it's a lot to do on my own. So this is one of the things that I use just to make everything a little bit more manageable. And they do feed and water the plants from below. I think when you're dealing with containers, it's a good idea to do this anyway, just to refresh on top of the container. So you're giving a fresh layer of peat-free compost on top of the old compost, which will add an extra layer of nutrients that will trickle down from above. Now I always use peat-free compost. There is never an excuse to use peat in your garden. Peat-free compost works really, really well. It's worth trying a few different brands because you can get different levels of performance, and you'll find that there are some that you enjoy working with more than others. Not particularly brand loyal. As long as it's peat-free, I will work with it, or at least give it a go. Now, like I said, although these pots feed and water themselves automatically from the bottom, the reason I particularly like to top dress them, especially this time round, is because I'm sowing seed directly into them. So by giving them this little, it's just like a centimetre or two of fresh compost on top, it's just like a really nice, moist, nutrient-rich layer to sow the seeds into, just to give them a good kickstart. Then they can put their roots down and start drawing stuff up from the reservoir in the base. Right, all the pots are top dressed now. So it's time to start sowing. So I'm going to start with carrots. I've got 5 different types of carrots that I'm going to grow in here. All of them are heirloom. I only really grow heirloom or heritage varieties. I try not to grow any F1 or hybrid varieties, which is what you'll find mainly in garden centres for sale. I don't like them because I don't think that they've really been produced for flavour. They're more problem solving, but it's what you're mainly marketed in this country, but it's not what you have to grow. There's some amazing heritage ones and heirloom ones out there, and it means that you can save the seed, so you can't save the seed from F1s and hybrids. Now I'll do a different video about that, explaining that whole thing. What I'm doing when sowing the carrot seed, because you don't need to sow it very deeply, getting some seed in my hand, and then I'm just very sparingly sprinkling it across the surface of the new compost. Now you don't ideally want to thin carrots, because it's the smell of carrots being pulled up, which you have to do when you thin them, that attracts things like carrot fly. Now we're planting for winter, so we'll probably be all right on carrot fly, but it's just best to bear in mind that ideally you don't really want to thin carrots if you can. So I've sprinkled them really, really lightly on the surface of the soil, and then I'm just going to basically agitate the surface just slightly so that the little seeds fall through the gaps in the compost and fall under the ground that way, rather than burying them, because you just don't need to plant them that deeply. So there we go. Okay, carrots are all in all across the back now. So now I am going to start on some winter greens, and I have so many different types of winter greens. So I have spinach, rocket, mizuna, endive, dandelion, mustard, celtus, which is a lettuce that grows on a stick, and you eat kind of the stalk more than you eat the leaves, which is exciting. And we've got more types of mustard, choy sum, winter choy, and bok choy. So I'm going to get those in now. And again, I'll basically be surface sowing these and then agitating the soil a little bit so that the seeds fall down into the crevices, and that's how they get sown. Right, all the greens are in around the pots around the outside. So last thing to do is to get some radishes in. Radishes do not really like heat, so planting them in autumn is a really, really great time to do it. There are some particularly well-known winter radishes, a couple of which I'm planting. So you've got Chinese red meat or watermelon radish, that's quite a well-known one, and also this Spanish black radish. So those are two that are really commonly grown at this time of year, but I'm going to try a few others as well. There you go. That is the whole greenhouse transitioned for winter. So I'll keep you posted on how it goes in here, and generally on how our winter food growing transition goes. But if you want more up-to-date, day-to-day updates, do follow She Grows Veg on Instagram. That's me for the veggie stuff. And if you want more general day-to-day homestead updates, follow Cedarwood Homestead on Instagram. So yeah, more to come, and I'll keep you posted on how it goes in here. But I'm really excited about lots of yummy greens, carrots, and radishes over winter.